Shalom, saints of the Most High God. Today we'll take you through a few scriptures that you must know that they're in the Apocrypha, books of the Apocrypha. The books of the Apocrypha are also known as Canonical. They are actually canon, just as the other 66 books. So in the Apocrypha, we have 1 Esdras, it has 9 chapters. We have 2 Esdras, it has 16 chapters. We have the book of Tobit, it has 14 chapters. We have Judith, 16 chapters. The rest of Esther, 6 chapters. We have the Wisdom of Solomon, which has 19 chapters. Ecclesiasticus, also called Sirach, it has 51 chapters. We have Baruch with the Epistle of Jeremiah, which has 6 chapters. We have the Song of the Three Holy Children, which, there is 1 chapter there. The History of Susanna, 1 chapter. Bel and the Dragon, 1 chapter. The Prayer of Manasseh, 1 chapter. 1 Maccabees, 16 chapters. 2 Maccabees, 15 chapters. Now, let's see what is contained in these books briefly. The confirmation of the same will be found in the other 66 books, which most of us traditionally say that's the canon. But today you will learn that what we call canon is not the only, it's not only the 66 books, it's also these 15 books in the Apocrypha that we must follow. So quickly, I'll go through the scriptures one by one, and you will learn from there. We have 2 Esdras, chapter 9, verse 37. Notwithstanding, the law perisheth not, but remaineth in force. So there we learn that it's us who perish, but the law never perish, never ends. 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and ordinances. If God forbids that we should forsake the law and the ordinances, that means we should never at any point stop living righteously according to the commandments. 2 Esdras chapter 7, verse 20. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of God that is set before them. So we know Romans 6, verse 23 says the wages of sin is death. 1 John 5, verse 17 says, all unrighteousness is a sin, and there is a sin not unto death, meaning there is a sin that it brings death. And that is enough for us to conclude that we must keep the laws. Because even the definition of sin is that it's transgression of the law, according to 1 John 3, verse 4. Similarly, Tobit chapter 14, verse 9. But keep the law and commandments, and shew thyself merciful and just, that it may go well with thee. It's the same thing that Joshua 1, verse 8 commands us, that we must meditate on the day and night in the book of the law, never letting it depart from our mouth. And if you do so, we shall be prosperous and successive. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6, verse 18. And love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. Just as 1 John 5, verse 3 tells us that this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So it's straight there. There is no excuse in not keeping the laws, since the books of the Apocrypha are confirming the same as in the other 66 books. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 16. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law. Meaning, if we want to please God, and we want to please God, and we love God, we do the laws. Simple. Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 15. Let thy take be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High God. It's the same thing in Proverbs 13, verse 20, that a friend of fools suffers harm. And it's the same thing in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33 and 34, that evil communications corrupt good manners. We should not be deceived. We should awake to righteousness, for some do not have righteousness. That's why we advise that our take, our friendship, our inner circle, our brotherhood, our sisterhood, our close friends should be those that fear God, those that keep the laws. That way, well, our communication will be good. It also goes to the people we congregate with. They have to be those that keep the laws. Ecclesiasticus chapter 15 verse 1. He that feareth the Lord will do good, and he that the knowledge of the Lord shall obtain her. There it's straightforward that if you fear God, you do good. And doing good, according to Romans 7 verse 12, it's keeping the laws, because it's the laws that are good. Just Ecclesiasticus 17 verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. So for us to inherit the kingdom of heaven, according to Matthew 19 verse 16 and 17, keep the laws from the mouth of Jesus. So that's why here the law of life is given for a heritage. That heritage goes into the kingdom of heaven. For us to go there, we need the law to keep it. That's where our righteousness is. Ecclesiasticus chapter 19 verse 20. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotence. For us to say we know God, for us to say we are acting in wisdom, it's through performance of the law. For us to say we have the fear of God, which is the beginning of wisdom, it's the keeping of the laws. Just as Proverbs 1 verse 7 confirms the same, just as also Psalms 111 verse 10 confirms the same. Ecclesiasticus chapter 21 verse 11. He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof, and the performance of the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. Ecclesiasticus 21 verse 11. I'll take it again. He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof, and the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. Just as 2 Timothy 3 verse 16 and 17, that says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for disciplining in righteousness, that the man of God may be thoroughly furnished, perfect. That's what it goes into. Susanna chapter 1 verse 3. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. It's the same thing you would find in Luke chapter 1 verse 5 and 6. There was Elizabeth and her husband. They were a righteous couple, and they walked blameless in the law. So here it's the same thing. It's the same thing. A parent has to teach the children to keep the laws. It's even in Psalm 78 verse 5. It's also in Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4 to verse 8. Baruch chapter 4 verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. It's the same thing that you find when you read the Exodus 31:16, that the children of the Israelites shall keep the Sabbath forever as a perpetual covenant. It's just part of it. All the laws are forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. That's why when you read Proverbs 4 verse 2, it says, my son, do not forsake my doctrine. I give you the law. Alright, with that, we see in conclusion that the Apocrypha upholds the law just as the other books, in the other 66 books, confirms the same. So I'll just quickly go through Romans chapter 7 verse 12, which says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. That's it. Romans 7 verse 22. For I delight in the law of God after the inner man. That's the source of our joy. If it's not your source of joy, well, there is a problem. Romans 3 verse 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yeah, we establish the law. What about Jesus? I mentioned Jesus. This is the words of Jesus himself. Matthew chapter 5 verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. And you are here. Heaven is here, earth is here, which means the law is here. What about Revelations, the last book of the Bible. Revelations 14 verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So the saints keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus. And we are the saints. You and I are the saints. Yes, we are the saints. With that, we say shalom.